Oblation I give to you. Sensation I need of you. Affection I am of you. Sacred to be with you. Oblation I give to you. I need of you. I am of you. To be with you. Revelation I give to you. Sensation I need of you. Affection I am of you. Sacred to be with you. To be.
The mysterious galaxies of the mind. odyssey of the mind. The mysterious odyssey of the mind. The mysterious odyssey of the mind. The mysterious odyssey of the mind.
the great white shark, Carcharodon carcharias, Perhaps no other species on the earth today is more vilified than this apex predator. Its legend and conflicts with humans reach as far back into history. These conflicts are, however, more often seeped in human imagination than with actual reality. For decades, humans have hunted this species for sport, trophies, or simply in an attempt to rid the world of what is perceived as a monster. Many questions are now being raised about the true nature of the great white, and more importantly, its position and function in the marine ecosystems as an apex predator. The white shark holds an essential role at the top of South Africa's marine ecosystem. Maintaining natural balance at all trophic levels of an ecosystem is essential for their continued function. You cannot remove the top level, the apex predators, without causing drastic and devastating consequences throughout the entire food web. Fortunately, the South African government recognised this in 1991 and was the first country in the world to protect this vulnerable species. Yet the future of the great white is still far from certain. Southern Africa, the cradle of mankind. A country steeped in history and intrigue. Lying at the southernmost tip of Africa is Cape Town, shrouded by the imposing Table Mountain. South Africa's most spectacular feature may well be the diverse and sensational wildlife that roams its endless countryside. This country has embraced conservation, and many of the large predators and herbivores have been saved from the edge of extinction. Now Africa's Big Five are flourishing throughout the numerous game reserves. It is not just the terrestrial ecosystems that South Africa is striving to save. Marine flora and fauna here is some of the most spectacular in the world, and strict governmental legislation is ensuring its conservation. Many species of shark are endemic and only recorded here in South Africa. They swim amongst some of the world's most complex and diverse reef ecosystems. South Africa's coastal waters are also abound with large apex predators. Many are instinctively drawn to one of nature's most spectacular banquets, the annual sardine run. Sardine shoals, sometimes stretching for as long as 20 miles, migrate along the eastern seaboard of the wild coast. A cacophony of predators, including sharks, seals and dolphins, are drawn to the annual feast, where the main course is a hapless sardine. At the surface, sardines are vulnerable to attacks from above. The air is filled with the cracks of Cape gannets plummeting into the water to catch this bountiful prey. Some of the world's most awe-inspiring marine giants also cruise the waters of southern Africa. These include the majestic manta ray, the playful humpback whale breaching its way to its breeding grounds in Mozambique, and even the occasional whale shark passes through on one of their never-ending voyages. Gansbaai, once a small sleepy fishing village. However, the discovery of the famous marine inhabitant, the great white, has changed Gansbaai's face forever. The great white capital of the world is now a thriving hub of tourism, where upwards of 100 tourists visit daily to experience the adventure of meeting a great white face to face. Following protection in 1991, entrepreneurs slowly began to realise the potential of viewing the white shark from the protection of the cage. 8 operators are now permitted to attract white sharks in the Gansbaai area, making it the true white shark capital of the world for tourists, film crews and photographers. The cage diving boats make the 11-kilometre trip in around 20 minutes, out to the famous Dyer Island. Here, our diverse and intriguing group of cage dive operators fulfill the dreams of many adventure seekers. Nowadays, operators conform to a code of conduct where only fish-based chums and baits are used, and operators do not intentionally feed the sharks. Each operator has his own magic ingredients that they add to their personal concoctions, the most popular being the livers and flesh of smaller sharks and tunas, all natural prey of the great white. The chum's oily slick emanates from the boats for several miles, intercepting the great white's natural patrol routes. The white shark's sense of smell is the most developed and advanced of all sharks. Any passing shark is intrinsically drawn towards the tourism boats. Despite the number of operators, white sharks seem plentiful enough to keep all the boats happy most of the time. Seasonality of cage diving is less pronounced now than when it began. The discovery of white sharks occurring inshore, away from Dyer Island during the summer, allows for cage diving boats to follow them and offer good service throughout most of the year. And during the occasional slow periods, boat crews often work together to seek out the elusive sharks. White sharks may be drawn to the inhabitants of Giza Rock, the Cape Fur seal. Once hunted for its pelts and blubber, the Cape Fur seal is another species with a bloody past by the hands of humans. Nowadays they are protected in South Africa and have recovered remarkably. Their entertaining antics have made them a popular species for the many visitors to South Africa and a much enjoyed bonus to the many cage diving tourists. The fur seal is truly one of the great comedians of the ocean. Its perpetual playing and frolicking in the water radiates an air of content bliss. whose curiosity and intelligence is plain to see when encountering them in their aquatic realm. The comic behaviour of the seals here belies the presence of hunting white sharks, a fearsome predator of these blubbery mammals. When entering the water, they stick close to shore. Rafting in dense groups does offer some protection by safety in numbers. Others hide in the confines of the dense kelp beds where sharks are thought not to venture. Here they can relax, safe in the knowledge that they are at least temporarily safe from the patrolling sharks. Up to 55,000 seals compete for space on this sun-drenched rock. Thermoregulation is essential for these blubbery animals, who are prone to overheating. They spend much of their time cooling off in the temperate Cape waters, particularly during the midday period when the African sun is at its hottest. But not all seals are safe from the marauding white sharks. The great white is a true apex predator. It has remained unchanged since its evolution almost 20 million years ago. Built for speed, agility and power, the white shark is one of nature's most masterful of designs. The power of its feeding arsenal is unmatched by any species on the planet. Its jaws can rip flesh from the thickest of hides. This evolutionary adaptation is necessary for the white shark to successfully attack and feed off robust seals, a favoured prey of the great white. By elevating its internal body temperature, the white shark maintains its position as efficient and ruthless predator of elusive seal prey. This adaptation is only shared with 4 other shark species, and is essential for the cooler waters of the Cape. Along with the elevated body temperature comes an elevated metabolism, forcing the white shark to continuously swim and search for food. These facts are not lost to the thousands of tourists who come to Gansbaai each year to meet this charismatic but intimidating species. The ultimate challenge to many of Gansbaai's visitors is to meet the great white in its own environment, under the sea. To do this, tourists enter well-constructed steel cages that float just below the surface. These cages are designed to withstand the toughest of abuse and ensure the safety of all those who are brave enough to enter. White shark cage diving boasts a proud record of never having a visitor injured by a shark. A surprising fact when appreciating the power and the strength of these huge animals. Again, however, humans may be misunderstanding the white shark. Operators and scientists are realizing that the white shark is a much more cautious predator than they once thought. Very rarely will they even make contact with the cage, and when on the rare occasions they do, it is little more than a simple curious bump. Over the past 10 years of cage diving, white sharks have continuously surprised those who work with them daily. While attempting to push a white shark's snout away from his boat's motors, one of the shark wranglers was surprised to watch a shark arc upwards, gaping and mouthing in a somewhat terrifying display. Opening mouths, as it is now termed, has resulted in some of the most spectacular photography of white sharks to date, with many such photographs adorning wildlife magazine covers throughout the world, including the cover of National Geographic. Just why they do this is not known for certain, although jaw protrusion, which is generally associated with this behaviour, suggests that it is feeding related. Scientists now believe that it is specifically related to food location, with the sharks relying on touch and the ampullae of Lorenzini to locate the perceived nearby food. The waters around Dyer Island teems with marine life. One of the seasonal visitors is the endangered southern right whale, who frequents this area for mating and calving. These lumbering giants can grow to a length of 14 meters and weigh in at a staggering 40 tons. Although white sharks will greedily scavenge off dead whales, their imposing size makes live ones impervious to attentions by white sharks, and both species mutually coexist in these coastal waters. Dyer Island is steeped in history. It is named after the American sailor Samson Dyer, who spent over 50 years living on the island, harvesting seals for their valuable pelts. Nowadays, Dyer Island is a bird reserve and home to 15 species of resident seabirds, many of which are endangered or vulnerable. Many of the birds must feel that they are in enemy territories. On the island, the slightest disturbance can leave chicks and eggs open to predation by the ubiquitous kelp gull. But despite such threats, these offshore island reserves may represent the seabird's safest refuge. Petrels, cormorants and penguins are frequently attacked by rogue seals stealthily waiting in the dense kelp beds. Occasionally, white sharks make curious attempts at these scavengers, who foolishly compete with them for the operator's baits. The power of the great white is epitomized by its merciless aerial attacks from the deep. Scientists believe that this rare behavior, termed breaching, may be exclusive to waters adjacent to seal colonies, where white sharks patrol the deep contours, hunting for unsuspecting seals at the surface. Often attacking at a near vertical trajectory, momentum carries the sharks clear of the water in what is one of nature's truly spectacular feats. Despite the variety of attractions in this diverse and exciting ecosystem, it is the white shark that is king, and the reason why tourists flock to this small remote corner of the world. The power and strength of the white shark is captivating. Film crews from around the world flock to Gansbaai to produce movies and documentaries on white sharks and the people who work with them. Many of the shark wranglers are now well known throughout the world because of their abilities to interact with the great white. Gansbaai is also a mecca for scientists who study the great white, and some of the world's most intense research programs are based here. Some of the closer interactions are beginning to make people rethink the man-eater label that white sharks are so often pinned with. Whatever the motivation is for those who flock to see, study, film or photograph the great whites of Dyer Island, one thing is for certain, they will not leave disappointed, because the white shark is the consummate performer. Sharks and the great white may be making their final stand. Over 100 million of these vulnerable predators are slaughtered each year to supply the shark fin soup trade. Death on this scale will almost certainly lead to the extinction of many of the world's shark species. Ecotourism may be one of the unheralded saviours of the shark. Communities who benefit more from ecotourism and living sharks than they do from their carcasses are turning into staunch shark conservationists. Operators are taking it upon themselves to use a platform of their tours to educate visitors on the realities of these misunderstood creatures. Only time will tell if it is enough to save these wonderful and graceful animals, so that generations to come can also enjoy one of nature's most amazing triumphs.
Dit is die eerste ene.
What's the first one? Standing back.
Ja, maar niet
Kom aan, vat die aasbliksem. Ag, sorry man, ek het vergeet jy les Afrikaans man. Laat hulle aan hoor. Ek het net jy bek gemis daar. Ja.